Right, there you go. Now we can start. I just finished cleaning up the block because that surface has to be spotless. No coolant, no oil, no old gasket. That's the old gasket. We're not going to be putting it back on, don't worry. And we got a new gasket, nice and shiny, unmolested. Would help to put it right way around. Can only go one way anyway. As you can see, the dowels, because the head was resurfaced, so that means it's reduced, lost some of its height. The tops of them dowels have to be ground off as well. Otherwise, if you leave them full length, means when you put the head down, they will start butting against the bottom of the hole in the head and cause the head gasket not to seal properly. So if you resurface the head, then that means that you have to resurface them as well. Move to make them slightly shorter. Right. The head is fixed now. You see new valve. All the valves been removed and relapped, reground. All the valve stem seals have been replaced, and I can show you what the problem was. The lack of compression. Here's the problem. Somebody was hungry and ate a slice of that valve. Instead of a slice of pizza, they just had a slice of valve. So, a souvenir. Okay, so I've just as you can see, it's been resurfaced, so it's nice and flat now. Again, that has to be clean. Obviously, I had to take that off because that was sticking out too far, so to be skimmed, that had to be stripped. That's it. There's the old gasket. That can be disposed of. Don't need that. Right, now we're ready for the new bolts. They can go back in. 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 washers back in. Right, let's find the old bolts. Yeah, that looks good because it's about a millimeter shorter, because these are stretch bolts. That means that they're already stretched, and you can see they're stretched by that sort of a amount, about a millimeter. And that's why you cannot reuse the old bolts. Just tiny little amount of grease on this, on the threads, because that way you get the correct torque. Because if they're dry, they bite into the metal, and you don't actually get the correct torque. And the only thing is different, they've got a hexagonal thread, where the other one was like a multi-spline. It's the only difference, really. I can live with this. Right, this is the lowest setting. That means it only goes until it actually touches. I'm not actually gunning the bolts on, don't worry. I'm just putting the bolts in so it actually touch. Right. Now it's the important part. Getting the correct torques. Nissan Pulsar 1.2 DIG engine torque setting. That's the sequence. So we need stage 1 25 Newton meters and the stage 2 270. Okay. .25 Newton meters. Ooh, missed the bolt. With the torque, with the way it goes, it's normally follows like a serpentine. So you kind of start like that and make your way around like that. So you go like that. So it's like a working in the serpentine. And then that's the first stage. But you see, if you do it again, you find that actually some bolts can still be done up a little bit. So I like to do it a few times. Especially if you've got like a more than 10 bolts. Some head gaskets got a lot more than 10 bolts. So you have to go round and round and round until you actually all the bolts are done up to the same torque before. Right, that's the first stage complete. And now we need 270 degrees. See, I don't like that. I prefer to do it in 2 stages, you know, not one bolt all the way, because 270 degrees, that's 3/4 of a turn. And I'd like to do half of it first, like 135 degree first time, and then 135 degrees second time. Then it makes it a bit tightens a bit more evenly. I don't like drastic, you know, steps. Each bolt straight away to the correct degree. It doesn't give a chance to squash everything properly. Right, I'll make a little dot at the 12 o'clock position. As all of them are dotted at 12 o'clock position, and we need to get to 9 o'clock position as an end result. And now the final stage to get to 3/4. And that's it. Now all the bolts are pointed at 9 o'clock position. That means that they're all done 270 degrees. Simple trick. Wears me out doing all these jobs like that. Goes this one that way. I think might as well put the turbo back on. See, the turbo has only just been disconnected from the head, but all the pipes are still all attached, so we don't have to do anything with it.
nothing happened. We control. Stop a little bit later. Yeah, I'll call you back. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the old gasket, multi-layer, but it's another one to the pile that we do not need. Right, okay, I've done up the turbo now, all 8 bolts. I've got this bolt for the bracket, that's done up also. I need to plug that fuel rail pressure sensor back in either as well. Okay, I'll leave the inlet manifold for the last. Right, that bit is done. Now I want to put this housing, the water flange or water housing, what you want to call it. Got a nice new gasket. One, two, 5 bolts. The old gasket can go in the scrap pile. Because I can't get to that one that easy at all. At the moment I'm struggled, remember last time, getting it in, but try to get this flipping bolt out now somehow. Let's get some heat on it. Maybe try to get this thing out. We'll see if any of it will work. Had a bit of a dust in there. So we've got a new hole. We just have to have a user nut and bolt through it. With the nut and bolt. Right, let's try to fish that in. Remember, it was very difficult to get it out. I had to like twist it. Getting it in was a bit easier. Right, I've got a new gasket. Oh, nearly done it. I nearly done it wrong. And that's what happens when you leave it for too long, the jobs. Popped the exhaust on, but I completely forgot to put a little shield. That's our old gasket. Yeah. Very difficult to put that on once the rest of it is back together. Right, that's a heat shield on now. Right, I nearly forgot that. I just remembered because it was very awkward to remove this little heat shield, because it's impossible to do it, put it in once the exhaust back on. Right, now we can put the exhaust back in. I like to start with the awkward bits first, bits at the back, because while the top is off, it's easier to get to the back. It's in, it's loosely in. I don't want to do anything up yet. Now I can go underneath and try to put the it's got the two bolts that hold the actual nearly said DPF, I'm saying my brain is off, the cat onto the bracket, lower bracket. So you've got the two bolts to the lower bracket, and also two, well, bolts slash stud with a nut for the actual exhaust itself. But one of them we obviously drilled out, so we're gonna have to put that in instead. So now I'm gonna loosely put them all in. Once they're all in, then I can put this bracket back on, because that bracket holds the cat on the back of the block. Because once it's all there, we can start gradually tighten everything together. Sweet. That's the exhaust manifold bolted, I mean not exhaust, exhaust bolted to the cat. So that's fully done up because it's on the flexi. So the broken stud is done. It's gone, that actually new bolt and nut gone like a treat. No problem at all. Now that's cat is only finger tight there, and is actually finger tight to the bracket itself, because we need to put this bracket in now. And once that all lined up, we can start actually doing everything up. Finger tight now, the bracket is on. Now we can start doing up the exhaust manifold now. Okay, we've done up this. Ooh. Right, that's that bracket done up completely. I've got one more bracket, two more bolts to do up underneath, and after that the exhaust will be completed. Well, we completed the exhaust. Right, what I'm going to do now is make the engine level again, jack it up slightly, and then I'm going to start putting this part back together. Ideally, I should really write down all the sizes. Oh, there you go. Now I can see 314. 314. Three one six. Yeah, 314. I have that feeling that is from this side. Three, two, four. Yeah, this one's 324 and this one's 314. So I have that feeling that one ended up in the wrong place. Them two come somehow, but we'll check them. No, really? Never mind. That's the timing mark. That one. That tooth will be lining up with that one. So that should be about there-ish. Oh, flip side. And that's the mark for the exhaust shaft. Out of the way. Right now it should be all numbers. A, B, C, D. Right. A, B, C, D. Now these numbers. 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm not doing them up yet. Let's see because I need one. This might take over me. Just take everything into the gaps. Right. $13 mil. Let's spin them a few times, let them open and close and lubricate themselves. And let's do the same with this one. Right. Now we're ready for measurement. Let's see what the gaps are. Okay. Valve clearances inlet on a cold engine, which we have. Let's write it down so that way I won't forget. So inlet, we need to have a 0.25 to 0.35. That's obviously in millimeters. Yep. And exhaust is 0.46 to 0.54. There you go, in millimeters. And now we need to measure the gaps and see if we within the tolerances. If we are, all honky-dory. If you're not, then we'll have to play around. We've got the sizes of the shims that were already in there. Need to measure. If we're out of tolerances, obviously, then we'll have to add or subtract from this existing tappets. And it could be we need to swap a couple of them around, or more likely we'll need to order another one, because I know we've got new valve in, and that valve obviously is brand new, nothing to do with this tappet whatsoever. But plus this engine ran for a while, and the reason it got burnt out maybe because this tolerance wasn't within the tolerances, so it kept the valve slightly open all the time. And because it kept slightly open, means the bucket is too big. That's what caused it to burn out, more likely in the first place. But we'll see. Right, let's find what do we need. Note 23. That's not good. Anyway, let's actually start measuring. Let's do one thing at a time. Alright. So Note 13. Note 22. Oh, that's already no good. That's already no good. That's a Note 22, and it already doesn't fit. Note 13. That doesn't fit either. So Note 13. Note 13 fits. Or is it? No, hang on. It's not Note 13, it's 0.33. Okay, never mind. That's 0.33. I'm looking at the wrong bit. 0.33, and we've got the tolerance, it's 0.5 to 0.35. So that's exactly within the tolerances. Anyway, 0.33, 0.13, 0.11. 12, 0.11, 13, 14, 17, 19, 7, 15, 5, 22, 23, 21, 7, 8, 5, 10, 24, 24, 25, 26, 27, 20. Right, I managed to finish shimming it. So with the new totals all within the tolerances, we've got a 0.46 to 0.4, we've got a 0.508, 0.533, 0.53, 0.533, 0.533, 0.508, 0.483, and 0.508. So they're all within the tolerances. That third one is on the border, but it's within the limits, so that's good. And that's for the exhaust side. And the inside, it was 0.25 to 0.35, and we've got 0.279, 0.33, 0.279, 0.254, 0.0305, 0.305, 0.305, and 0.279. So they're all bang on, basically. So that's I'm happy with the shims now. So that means the tappets will be not rattling and not keeping the valves open. So that's the main thing we need. So now I've done all the calculations, so my head can rest now. Oh, head can rest. Now I'll be able to put the rest of it back together. I think I might start with a chain. Put the chain on, and then I'll put the rocker cover on top afterwards. Right, we're ready to put the timing chain back on now. I didn't even bother timing it or anything when I stripped it. But you can see we've got a genuine timing chain kit. The new bolt, new chain tensioner, new guides, and obviously new chain. Maybe we need to go a bit past the right now that one is all lined up there. That lines up here, and now that all lines up here. So now we've got this pin lined up, that lined up, and the bottom here, you see the orange with a little arrow all lined up as well.
Okay.
Sweet. Now we can put the guides. Guide, it just slides over the pin. Very simple. New bolts. Now we can do the rest of it up. Tensioner needs to be done up also. Alright, now I need the last checkup. So that mark definitely correct. That's definitely correct. That one's definitely correct. Just slide it back in. It's all sitting where it's supposed to sit. Now we can release the tensioner. And that's it, one click. And then it will do its own work now. It will tension itself. So the timing is done. I can turn the engine over and over and over if I want to, just to make sure nothing hits. I'd rather do it now than everything back together. Lovely. All spinning nicely. That's good. Already cleaned up the surfaces around here. All the surfaces all nice and clean now. We just need to clean up the front cover. Clean the front cover up and we'll get it back once it's clean. Cover is clean now. In the kit, we've got the new seal. I'm not sure why that seal never comes with the timing chain kit, because you must replace it every time you do the timing chain. But it came with a headset, so I'll take that, dry it off a bit. Now we can put some silicone. I'm afraid these ones are very awkward to put the cover in without scraping it to the sides. So I like to put them on both ends. Not too thin, not too thick there. But then that way, when I put the cover in and it does scrape somewhere, then there is one layer of the silicone here as well. There's one thing I don't like is leaks. That way, wherever it doesn't need to be there, it'll squirt out to the sides, but it's not going to block any waste, so oil waste, so I'm not really fussed about it. But when I do put it in, if it does scrape something, let's have a go. There you go. You did touch somewhere, but oh, it's easier to get in than to get it out. There you go. It's in. It's in. Lovely. The longest bolt goes into this corner. The rest of them are all the same. 6 bolts. Right. I've fed all the bolts in. Now we can just do them up. Go. Okay. Now the water pump can go back on as well. Right, there's the top bit. Two top ones done up. This one. Okay, that's the water pump back on. That's that on. Still need to have a water pump sprocket or pulley, or whatever we want to call it, twisty thingy. Hard time getting it out, so I have to lift this engine stupid high for it to. There you go.
Everything seems to go easy.
Yeah. What's that on? Let's put this VVT covers back on as well. Again, they can only go in one way. Three O-rings, one there, one there, one there. Sure they stayed. They're not lost. Otherwise, again, you might get an oil leak. Might as well put the belt back on. Well, that's the belt back on. Well, I'm done with the belt. I can do the rocker cover now. Right, now we can put the rocker cover back on. Put blobs of silicone in the corners and on the where the two surfaces are meeting together, so in case there is a gap there. We've got a new rocker cover gasket. And that's the fuel pump. Well, I don't know, bearing rod, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Well, that's the rocker cover on. Now, since the rocker cover is on, I can put this exhaust shield back on now. Let's pop some grease around this threads. Oh, I think I need to loosen them up a bit. Right, that's the cover back on. Well, I could do is put spark plugs back in also. Right, that's that done. That's that side done. Now I can probably put this cover back on. Just the cover, nothing else. It's not holding it. Just literally covering the hole. I think it might have an option for the vacuum pump to be bolted at the back of it, probably. All right, let's the cover back on. You have to look at the picture. So I've got this bracket. It goes like that. A bit lower. Yeah, that's it, like that. Obviously, there should be another bracket attached to the wiring loom. That one. That goes onto that bracket. Good. Oh, I've got the new seal for the fuel pump. I'm not sure that still there. Good. Let's fuel pump back on. Fuel pipe. Like so. For these manifold seals are almost like plastic. There we go. If I put that in, I'll have no access to them bolts too well. So I think I might have to put them in first. Right, that's on now. It can stay there. The fuel pipe can go back on and stay there as well. Let's do this fuel pipe. There's a fuel pipe on. Now the manifold can go back on. have to put the engine mount back on. Actually, no, until the wiring looms through, I can't do that just yet. This wiring loom done up here. So this end is done now. We can actually put the engine mount back on now. Oh, the jack can go. And maybe once that jack out, I might find some of my missing sockets. Well, that's that sorted now. So we've got all of that done. So basically, head gasket wise, it's all done. Just need to refill with fluid. Obviously I have to put it all back together up here, but I can't because I have to take it all apart to do the clutch. So head gasket wise, we're finished. But obviously we can't test it until everything else back together. I have to wait until the clutch is done now. Oh, joy of joys. Okay, we'll carry on in the next video. Okay. Hi, welcome back. Well, we finally managed to put the head back together, and I've done a clutch since then also on this vehicle, so I managed to put the battery back on, ECU back on, so now was able to start the car. It's been running for about half an hour now, and running sweet as a nut, no misfire. There's our culprit. He obviously, I don't know if you can see or not, there was a culprit, half eaten, half chewed up valve. So some other garage diagnosed it needs a new engine, but I think it's a bit drastic for one of them to change the whole engine. So we managed to repair. Took the head off. Obviously it was skimmed, cleaned, prepped, replaced obviously head gasket, new head bolts, new timing chain, and then new oil filter, new antifreeze. Otherwise everything else is more or less, well, all the gaskets were replaced, meant to be replaced. Exhaust manifold gasket, inlet manifold gasket, thermostat gasket, so all of that was replaced. Not thermostat though, it's a water housing or water flange gasket. I didn't have to remove the thermostat on this engine sits right below the inlet manifold on the and bolts to the block, so we didn't have to touch that. Apart from that, everything is original and it's running nicely. The only thing we have left now is to do a road test, but otherwise, I mean, I moved vehicle back and forward and it felt good. There's no fault codes on the vehicle anymore, no misfire. So another job well done. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye for now.